only here because I genuinely don't know if I am going crazy or not. My 24-year-old wife and I, both 24 years old, have been going through a lot of issues lately. We have been together since we were 17 and got married last year in the summer of 2023. I absolutely adore this woman, but I feel like it isn't reciprocated. Our relationship, up until about 22 or so, was very loving. I felt like I could lean on her if I had a problem. Things were joyful, and we almost never fought. We'd have intimacy 3 to 4 times per week, which was honestly kind of a lot for me. Sounds weird coming from a guy, I know, but I absolutely was not complaining. I felt wanted and desired, and that meant the most to me. Now, we have graduated college and both work high-stress jobs. I am a high school teacher, and she is an intensive care unit nurse. Many weeks, we only see each other in passing, or maybe a couple full days per week. It has been hard, but it's not the little time we have that has caused issues. When we are together, it just feels like we are completely disconnected. She will shy away if I try to kiss her. I feel like when I have a problem, whether it be with us or some other aspect like work, I'm met with dismissiveness, or her answers seem detached, like she'd rather be doing anything else. When I try to bring this up to her, she says, "I don't understand why this is being brought up right now," and I get a type of incredulous look. Then when I try to explain, she says something along the lines of, "I'm sorry that you feel that way, but I don't want to talk about this right now." I try to bring it up later, and it's the same thing. It just feels like the can is being kicked down the road. This all came to a head this week. We took a trip to Hawaii, and I viewed it as an opportunity to reconnect with my wife and enjoy her company. After all, I am still very much in love with this woman. She's a total girl boss type, and I respect her a lot. She is drop-dead gorgeous as well, the type of girl that gets hit on just by walking by. However, the whole trip has not been intimate in any way. We haven't kissed or had intimacy. Stupid little couplet things have seemed to fall to the wayside. Admittedly, this bummed me out as I wanted to experience the trip with my wife. However, it has felt more like a friendly trip. When we get back from the day around 7 p.m., she instantly hops onto reading her book and then knocks out by 8 p.m. She asked me to wake her up after an hour nap to get dinner. When I did, she said she wasn't hungry and pushed me away. This was last night, the last night of our trip, and I really wanted to go out and play some pool or go get some drinks or something. So I was a bit upset, but I let her sleep. This morning, I tried to bring up why I was a little upset about how that went down, and that I felt like we had no time to be intimate and just enjoy each other's company. And the exact same argument structure happened. She said the line about not understanding why we have to do this now, which might be valid since we are on vacation. I put my foot down and doubled down as I was sick of feeling this way. During this argument, I felt like I was an emotional mess, but I kept calm to not escalate everything. At one point, I asked her if she felt anything during this argument other than anger and disgust. She never gave me a straight answer. She just said that she was too angry to talk about this right now. I feel like I'm going insane because whenever I reference her saying that in the past, she says she doesn't remember. And honestly, it's making me second-guess myself. Am I looking too far into things? I know she has a very stressful job, and honestly, most of the problems started around when she began working. I feel terrible because I feel like I've brought up things that I shouldn't have. We've had intimacy once in a month now, and I brought this up as well, saying that I did not want to be in a sexless marriage at 24. I have absolutely no idea what to do, as I love her very much, but I don't know if I can take this disconnect anymore. I will take any advice. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. It sounds like she is very stressed out and doesn't have good coping methods in place. Does she have any downtime? Have you asked her to schedule when a good time would be to talk about things? She is always saying later. Ask her for that later. Then you can both prepare for what you want to say. This can also be something a couples therapist can do to help you develop communication skills. Comment 2. Wow, this perspective hit like a truck, but it makes sense. I want so badly for things to be even just a little as they were before. She has said herself that she should probably go to therapy to address the issues from her childhood, but hasn't done it. Maybe couples therapy could help me better support her with that, while also repairing our communication and connection. Thank you for this, seriously. Now, for the update. It's been a week since my last post, and things have only gotten more complicated. After coming back from Hawaii, my wife started spending more evenings out. She said she was networking after work, but it felt off. I noticed she was getting texts late at night and would quickly put her phone down when I came in. My brother invited me to his birthday party, and I decided to go alone. I thought maybe a night with family would clear my head. My sister-in-law, Rachel, mentioned she had seen my wife at a bar downtown a couple of nights before. Rachel said my wife looked deep in conversation with a man she didn't recognize. I asked Rachel for details, but she didn't have much to share. I started thinking about what was really going on. At my brother's party, I couldn't focus on anything but the thought of my wife out with someone else. My parents asked if Olivia would join us for the upcoming Thanksgiving dinner. I told them I wasn't sure if she would be coming. The next day, I decided to check her social media. I found a photo of her at the bar with that same man, laughing. I confronted her the moment she got home. She said it was a work event and that the man was just a colleague. I pressed her for more details, but she seemed irritated. I let it go for a couple of days, but I was on edge. My parents hosted Thanksgiving dinner, and Olivia was a no-show. I told my family she was busy with work, but I could sense their concern. My mom kept asking if everything was okay between us. I decided to do some digging on my own. I looked at our shared calendar and noticed she had an appointment marked as personal. I tracked her phone location one evening after she said she was working late. To my surprise, she was at a hotel downtown. I parked nearby and waited. After an hour, I saw her leave the hotel with that same man. They got into his car, and I followed them to a restaurant. I watched as they laughed and shared a meal. I walked in, and they were sitting at a table in the back. I went up to them, and Olivia's face went pale. I said, "So this is what you've been up to?" The man looked confused, and Olivia stammered. I told her I'd had enough of the lies and deceit. I left the restaurant. I texted her that we needed to talk about what I'd seen. She responded asking for time, but I was done waiting. I told her I would be at my parents' house for the weekend. I made plans with my family to discuss everything. Thank you for reading. Edit. I have spoken with my family about everything. They were shocked, but supportive. They helped me see the situation more clearly. I also talked to my friend who is a marriage counselor, but I haven't decided if that's the route I want to take yet. I'm still processing everything. Am I the idiot for breaking up with my girlfriend after she ditched me for an art workshop? Hello, I am a 22-year-old man, and I have been with my girlfriend, who is 23 years old, for about 4 years. For the first 2 years of our relationship, kind of long distance, kind of not, it was very good. After that, something changed. I don't know if I am at fault or not. Basically, we started arguing more, having less intimacy, and giving each other less attention, but I still love her a lot. As she finished college, we decided to move in together. I thought that would bring us closer, but unfortunately, it highlighted our problems even more. She is constantly angry, in some kind of aggravated mood, and always finds something to complain about. Our intimacy life is better, but it's still nowhere near what it was before. However, there is something that drives me crazy. She never tells me what she wants and expects me to just know it. If I ask her about something, she gets mad and gives me the silent treatment, or worse, she just says she does not know or nothing. Maybe I am at fault. I like to make decisions, but sometimes there are decisions that I can't make on my own. There is also another issue that started when we began living together. I am working from home, so I have a little more time than she does, which I make sure to use to clean around the house and put everything in order. However, when she comes home and sees that I have moved something of hers, even though she never touches it or she told me she wouldn't ever need it, she goes ballistic and insists that I move it back to its place, even if it makes all of the effort I put in go to waste. We've had a talk about that too, in which she admitted that I was right and she did not need the item, but she just got angry because she was stubborn. And this is how she is, and she can't change it. Other than that, she makes me feel like I need to watch out for every little thing so she does not get upset. She always thinks of me less and says things that bring me down. She has to know everything I do and every single reason why. She also gets a little manipulative because she does not like my relationship with my brother. She thinks we are too close, and personally, I think she gets jealous. I don't know if it is relevant, but she has what they call daddy issues. We've talked about these things, which usually results in a good week, but after the smallest inconvenience, it goes back to how it was. I don't know what to do. I love her as she is a beautiful and smart girl who is caring, but her attitude has been really putting me on edge, to the point where I have thought about ending the relationship. Could you give me advice? Now for a few comments before the update. Well, actually, this post did not have any comments. Now, for the update. A few days after my last post, Olivia and I went to my parents' anniversary dinner. Gotta say, the atmosphere was super awkward. My parents were trying to keep things light, but with the whole drama going on, it was just crickets from our end. Then, my dad, trying to be all fatherly and stuff, asked us about our future plans, and all we could do was laugh awkwardly. Like, what else can you do? At that point, Olivia just lost it. Not in like a raging way, but she excused herself during dessert, and I could tell she was upset. So I followed her outside to the patio. She was just pacing back and forth. I tried to talk to her, but she was all like, "I need space," and dismissed me. I mean, we're at my parents' place, and this is how we act? After dinner, I offered to drive her home, but she said no, she would take an Uber. Okay, I get it, but I felt like we were just putting on a show for my family. I went back inside, and my family noticed Olivia's behavior. My brother Jake said she seemed off from the beginning. I was like, yeah, no kidding. The next day, I got a text from Olivia saying she needed time apart. I was confused but respected her wish, so I didn't reach out for 2 days. I hung out with my brother a lot during that time. We talked about our childhood, family dynamics, and just everything. It was good to reconnect. Jake mentioned he noticed Olivia's tendency to isolate herself during family events. Like, he really noticed that? A week after Olivia texted me, I got a call from my mom. She asked if I had seen Olivia because she hadn't been responding to any family messages. That made me really worried, so I decided to visit her apartment. I knocked on the door several times, but there was no answer. I started getting really worried. On my way back, I ran into Olivia's neighbor. She said she saw Olivia leave in a hurry a few days ago. She mentioned that Olivia had said something about needing a break from everything. That honestly freaked me out more. I decided to check out some local cafes where Olivia usually worked on her art. At one cafe, I overheard people talking about Olivia attending a private art workshop. That got my attention. I found out where the workshop was and thought I'd check it out. I arrived just in time to see Olivia with a group of people, all laughing and painting. It looked like they were having a blast. I didn't want to confront her there, so I just left. A few days later, I confronted her about the workshop. I told her I was worried about her. She got all defensive and accused me of being unsupportive. I said I was just trying to understand, but she shut me down. So, I got a little frustrated and brought up her jealousy towards Jake, my brother. That led to a huge argument. She said she felt like I valued my brother more than her, and honestly, at that point, I was just done. In a moment of anger, she suggested we take a break from each other entirely. I took a deep breath and thought maybe giving her space would be best, so I agreed. During that time, I focused on reconnecting with my brother and my family. We even planned a small family gathering for an upcoming holiday. At that gathering, I overheard Jake talking about Olivia's behavior, and I started getting really suspicious. It felt like there was more to the story. I decided I needed a final conversation with Olivia to get some clarity. I texted her, suggesting we meet at our favorite diner to talk things over. She agreed, but seemed kind of hesitant. That raised my alarms a bit. When we got to the diner, the tension was just thick. We sat across from each other, and you could feel the vibe. I laid everything on the table, asking her about her commitment and her actions. She was still defensive, claiming she needed space to figure things out, which was getting old. The conversation just escalated, and at one point, I proposed that we end things. She suddenly got upset, accusing me of abandoning her. I mean, come on, we were already kind of there, right? A week later, I found out through social media that she had started a new relationship. I was like, okay, if that's what you want, then fine. I decided it was time for me to move on and focus on rebuilding my life. Edit, we had been living apart for a month. She started the new relationship a week after our final conversation. No overlap occurred. Am I the idiot for telling my in-laws to stop assuming I'm miserable after the breakup? I'm going through a breakup. This time, it's about my ongoing relationship with my parents-in-law. My soon-to-be ex and I have a child, so I will need to continue to have a relationship with my parents-in-law indefinitely, and I am pleased they are in my child's life. They are really very lovely people. The relevant ages are: I'm in my late 30s, they are in their 70s and 80s. Their son, who is in his mid-40s, and I have been together for 12 years, so I've known them all of that time. We lived in their house for 6 months 3 years ago when our child was born, because their son, my soon-to-be ex, was depressed. This might be relevant. As I say, they're very caring people, but for the last few years, if anything, the problem is that they care too much. Specifically, at the moment, I am finding it hard to deal with and would like an outside point of view and any advice you can give. To sum it up, they always start from a negative perspective. Instead of asking, "How was your day?" they ask, "Was it awful?" or "Are you okay? We were worried about you." While this sounds very lovely and supportive, I find it exhausting to be constantly trying to persuade them that everything is okay. Sometimes my day was just dull and not much happened. Not awful, but no exciting news or anything to share. In addition to having lived with them for 6 months when our child was born, we still stay at each other's houses regularly for childcare. And I'm often taken aside during the 2 to 3 days, and they say, "Did we do something wrong?" Or afterwards, I receive a concerned text saying, "I hope we didn't offend you." I always smile and say, "No, what made you think that?" And never get a very good answer, just we got the impression that. So I'm not sure what in my behavior is being read as unhappiness. No one else in my life seems concerned about me, and I'm not concerned about me, so I'm not sure how to persuade them I'm okay. So question 1, how can I kindly tell them to stop assuming I'm depressed? I've tried joking about it, but it comes across that I'm telling them off, and then they think they've offended or angered me, and it just makes everything worse. Of course, right now, their son and I are breaking up, so I actually am upset underneath the surface, though trying not to show it, and occasionally feel like saying, "Of course I'm feeling down. Your son doesn't love me anymore." I have a horrible feeling I'm going to be blamed for the breakup, as in, of course he stopped loving me. She was always so depressed. Who would want to live with that? Question 2, is there something I can say or ask my ex to say that will get ahead of this? In a way, I know I shouldn't care what other people think of me, but these people are important to me and play a big role in my child's life, so I want to maintain a good relationship with them. How can I politely persuade them I'm not depressed and let them know that the fact they assume I am is only reinforcing the impression by making me act defensive all the time? Now, for a few comments before the update. Well, actually, this post did not have any comments. Now, for the update. 2 weeks later, I gave in and went to a family dinner. I figured it was better to keep the peace than have to deal with the in-laws being upset with me on top of everything else. I could tell they were trying to cheer everyone up with a big meal. They made lasagna, my favorite. I thought it was nice, but I don't know why they thought food could fix everything. I sure as hell could use some therapy or something, not just a plate of pasta. So, we're sitting around the table, and I notice the in-laws keep glancing at each other. It's like they're talking without saying a word. I know they're worried about their son, and it's got them all stressed out. So we're eating, and the father-in-law suddenly asks if I'm still feeling down. I swear you could hear a pin drop in that silence. I've never wanted to disappear so badly. I tried to change the subject, talking about how delicious the lasagna was, but the mother-in-law wasn't having any of it. She straight up interrupted me, asking why I wasn't eating much. Like, what do you want me to do? Stuff my face to prove I'm not depressed. Then she starts with more questions, wanting to know if I was going to be okay. I could feel the awkwardness in the air. Then they bring up their son. The father-in-law mentions that their son has been acting distant. I'm thinking, yeah, no kidding. You should see how distant he is with me. He asks if I have any idea why. I'm feeling cornered, trying to assure them that he just needs some space. No blame here, nothing to see, just their son needing a little time to himself. After dinner, I was like, I need a breather. I excused myself to help clean up. Honestly, I couldn't take it anymore. I felt like I was gonna snap. So I'm washing the dishes, and I hear the in-laws whispering. They're talking about their son and the breakup. The mother-in-law is saying she thinks my mood is affecting their son's well-being. Like, they really think I'm that powerful? They decide to talk to me directly about it while we're cleaning. I'm just standing there, trying to keep my cool. I tell them I'm okay and that the breakup was mutual. They look so relieved, but still have this skeptical look on their faces. It's like they don't fully believe me or something, and it's really starting to frustrate me. Later that night, I get a text from my ex. He wants to meet up soon. I don't know if that's a good idea, but I can't say no. I'm so tired of all this drama, but at least I know he's not ignoring me. The next day, we meet at a local coffee shop to talk. He tells me he's feeling overwhelmed by the whole situation. He mentions how his parents' reactions have made him feel guilty. This whole thing is just a mess. A few days later, the in-laws invite me over for a heart-to-heart. I'm not even surprised at this point. They want to understand my feelings about the breakup, so we sit down, and they say they want to know more about how I'm feeling. They seem to accept that the breakup was mutual, but I can tell there's still some lingering doubt. It's like they want to believe me, but they're not quite there yet. As I'm leaving, the mother-in-law hands me a family photo album. She thinks it might help. I get home and flip through the album. It's nice, but nothing I haven't seen before. Then I find a picture of my ex with some new girl at a recent event. My heart just drops. He's already moved on. I can't believe it. I confront him about the new girlfriend during our next meeting. He admits he's started dating someone else, but insists it's not a rebound. I don't even know how to feel about that. I don't want to be the reason he's unhappy, but I can't help feeling like a backup plan. The in-laws later bring up the new girlfriend too. They ask about her and express concern over how she might affect their son. I decide to keep the focus on his happiness. Even if it makes me uncomfortable, I just want him to be okay. I push through the family dynamics. I attend a birthday party for the in-laws the following week. The atmosphere was tense. They brought up the new girlfriend again. I felt caught between wanting to support my ex and the in-laws' concerns. I'm just trying to navigate this mess. The in-laws mean well, but they don't know everything. I'm preparing myself for another round of family interactions. I know there are unresolved issues, but I don't know how to deal with them. Edit. I want to clarify that the breakup was mutual, and my ex is not blaming me for anything. His parents don't know about the new girlfriend yet, and I'm not sure how to tell them. I have no feelings for my ex anymore, so I have no problem with him moving on. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.